So let's go back to the worldwide coverage or footprint of Deutsche Telekom. As you can see, I was I don't know if that was already gathered from before, but what I was trying to present here is when you look at the dark areas here on this map, this is where the native connectivity for Deutsche Telekom with its NatCos, we call them NatCos, are coming from. The line which is drawn here is showing our partnership together with T-Mobile US. So we bring to the customer the best possible service, which is on both sides of the pond, of course. But altogether, for the global coverage, we are talking about 600 roaming partnerships around the globe. This is very important to us to that our footprint reaches out of the standard areas, let's say, of our native networks. But when it comes to being present in these markets, we are not only looking at connectivity itself. We also look at services and solutions for certain areas of which are, let's say, have some certain restrictions, we call them, or roaming restrictions, which is in Brazil, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, etc. And we are going to solve these via tailor-made solutions. Or if you look at certain areas where local breakouts are necessary, we are able to solve that with our partners in various countries. So our footprint is quite vast, and when it comes to, I would say, like standard machine-to-machine communication, we are going beyond that, of course, with narrowband IoT propositions like low power, wide area propositions around the globe. So I would say that footprint is quite comprehensive at this point. If we go further, let me see. If we go further, it is also important to highlight, of course, the industries we are active in. Of course, the automotive industry being one of our key marquee stones of our operations, being 50 to 60% of our footprint being in the automotive industry. And I would say like all leading manufacturers in the world are basically partnering with us, and that is even going to be expanded going further with the EV industry picking up in the recent years. But other than that, I will show also some logos at the end of this presentation. You will see who we are partnering with. The logistics industry is an industry geared towards forwarding and tracking solutions, where we are basically at the forefront of a lot of market leaders here. I think it is important to highlight this because this is part of the retail value chain, let's say. Nevertheless, we are also spearheading into new areas or new industries. The healthcare industry being one of them. We just recently signed with Biotronic, with one of the biggest players in the healthcare industry, and enlarging our footprint there also month by month, year by year. Building and construction, of course, needless to say that the smart city industry is one of the driving forces in IoT. So building, construction, and let's call it smart city is very important. And nevertheless, and needless to say that we are highly active in retail. That's one of our bread and butter industries. Just recently signed one of the biggest providers of smart payment solutions in Germany, which is important, of course, and is catering towards also the industries which we are tackling right now in this session. But if we look beyond, and that we call this proposition TIoT, and if we look beyond this or underneath the umbrella of TIoT, we look at products which are going beyond machine-to-machine communication or based on LTE. Of course, we are bringing to the table technologies across different platforms. It be the classic old, let's say, technological footprint of 2G, 3G, and LTE, and on top of that, of course, 5G capabilities, which are our roadmap points at 2026 and 7. where we are talking about network slicing and dedicated slices for certain use cases, especially when we talk about high density value propositions of like video content and similar things. Specifically, if we look into the Asian markets, there are several market leaders in the CCTV camera industry where certain bandwidth and payloads are necessary to be covered, which IoT usually or classically are not going to cater to. But going forward with 5G, that will be much easier. And underneath the managed IoT connectivity, we talk about narrowband IoT, LTE-M, which I already mentioned, and that brings also satellite propositions into the play. And satellite propositions are of course provided by partners, which we bring into a basket of solutions which are provided by Intelsat, Viasat, Skylo, Sateliot, and more. And especially the Skylo proposition is one which is woven into our proposition and USP as of recently, and we love that partnership with Skylo. If we look at who we are partnering with as of recently, I think it is important also to highlight that we are not stopping there. We are going to launch embedded IoT solution. That means we can provide off-the-shelf hardware solutions with IoT embedded for companies which seek out solutions like that going forward in the year of 2026. And we just recently partnered with NVIDIA for industrial cloud located out of Europe, which is very important because we have the discussions around data sovereignty here in Europe very heavily. Just yesterday, the European Union was hosting together with Germany and France a discussion around that, a symposium about data sovereignty. And this industrial cloud hosted by or powered by Deutsche Telekom and NVIDIA together with Siemens and Perplexity AI, etc., will be a chance to give companies out of Europe, for instance, the chance for data privacy on a massive scale. So this is what we're looking forward to in the year 2026. But in general, you can see here automotive industry, aviation industry, water metering industry, a lot of industries which we're bringing together here, smart city, smart home, and more. So go ahead. We have now the time, I hope, for a few questions in the Q&A. And I'm very thankful that I could present Deutsche Telekom at this point.
Thank you a lot, Beni. Actually, following the first session, the previous session by Mr. Bessie, case sharing of luxury brand of physical store digitalization. Yeah. We would like to actually ask you a question. Could you maybe share some insights from T-Mobile Telecom's own digital retail store operations? I mean, we know T-Mobile has a very big chain of physical retail stores, right? And how is this experience integrate with your IoT business from your department, and what will be your key advice would you give to other IoT device makers here today about maybe potential collaborations with you?
Absolutely. So, of course, you mentioned the retail footprint ecosystem of Deutsche Telekom, specifically in Germany, in Austria, in those countries which I highlighted in a dark magenta tone, right, in the overview before on the map. In these countries, Deutsche Telekom is very present, let's say, in the city centers, on the shopping streets, in the shopping malls, etc. And the retail experience is a very important one, of course. And spearheading digital solutions from our end means that we are also living that in our stores. Of course, IoT is part of that. If we talk about payment systems, of course, I mentioned that before. But let's look beyond payment systems. Let's look beyond those prevalent technologies which you're using. I'm personally coming from a consumer electronics background, right? You know that I used to work for large corporations in the consumer electronics industry, and working there together very, very closely with market leaders in the retail industry. And those retail, you know, I was basically supporting these companies to, you know, go from retail 1.0 to retail 2.0. And what does that mean, or what does that entail? So if you look at retail 1.0, you know, manual work was in the forefront. So your employees had to go to the shelves, change the prices according to, you know, daily changes on internet platforms, or they had to you know, put up informations for certain products and everything, you know, manually. That has changed strongly, you know. So nowadays, retail industry is using, for instance, e-paper, e-ink solutions, where price indicators are basically updated on a regular basis automatically, right? With sensors or modems which are incorporated in these price indicators, and the pricing can be, you know, centrally awarded to certain products, which is very helpful because the individual retail or sales person doesn't need to go to each product and change the pricing. Or if we talk about replenishment solutions are very important. What you did before was negotiating each and every price per product, right? But what we found out at one point was it is not as important to negotiate pricing as to make sure that the product is on shelf all the time without any drops. There is some noise in the yeah. In some call, but you know, you have to have the product on the shelf, and replenishment systems are able to provide that. So the replenishment systems, of course, need to be digitalized. So if you use these replenishment system via IoT solution, that is possible to maintain and drive into the stores, you know, automatically through centralized systems. So this is just one you know, possibility of solving retail. But if we go further, you know, we have already stores where robotics are also applied in the retail industry. So you are not going to be served by an individual human, right? But some you know, robots to be interacted with to get your you know, where do I find product A, how can I help you with services, etc., etc. So that is also something where IoT comes into play. So and of course there are certain retail solutions which are geared towards RFID. So you leave the store, right, without paying, because once you pass the store entrance or exit, the RFID chip is going to be scanned, and your account is going to be credited or debited by with the product you just basically took out and bought for yourself. So that is also IoT, which is enabling retail solutions.
I think what Beni mentioned will be very much impressed by or very give a very interesting point for our companies, especially from the e-paper, e-ink circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Many of them are listening, and
yes.
hopefully we'll have more interaction with you later after the meeting. And as Jerry told me from e-paper Industry Alliance, that there will be a ESL company to showcase their business model in overseas market and in Europe. So this will be also interesting for the points you mentioned. So
beautiful.
Yes. So thanks a lot. And let's move to the next speaker. We would like to invite Mr. Dean Frew. Thank you, Beni. And Dean Frew is from Goat Hill Strategic Partners from North American, showcasing the regional markets best practice and his point of view. And he will also dive into the proven benefit and future trend of item level RFID in retail. Very welcome, Dean, for your session to us. Please go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Steffi.